hesitant to introduce you because I guess I'm just not that he is. So you were very fortunate with that. But I would like to introduce not only a friend but a colleague of mine for what over 20 years. We've helped each other out a lot with insurance issues, computer issues, whatnot, and that. And so I've been very blessed and fortunate. I don't work for him, but there's always that hope. So been very fortunate and blessed that I will come into my life at a vitally important time this past year. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Chad Stetzel and Chelsea Hickert from Stetzel Chiropractic.
We forgot to hand those guys out. She's going to get that stuff done too, though. Just a little, just some. I don't know. This is easier than putting up a PowerPoint if we need to. So, yeah. So I'm Chad Steskel. I'm excited to be here and explain kind of some of the stuff that we're talking about. Really important things. I don't think any of you guys came here to waste any of your time, and neither did I. So if this is a fail, you got to talk to Diane because it's her fault that I'm here. Okay. So yeah, 27 years I've been a chiropractor, and I think I've known her for all those. And yeah, she's kind of like a staff that when I get new staff, I'm like, call Diane. I don't even train them on that stuff. So, okay. So what I'm going to talk about is regenerative medicine. This has been around for 5 or 10 years. It's kind of a big buzzword. What I found out is not a lot of people really know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to get back to this, and I'm excited to talk about. But what I want to tell you first is what happened in my life and how did I get to the point where I'm so passionate about it and why this is so exciting to us. So I grew up on a farm, north central Nebraska in Bassett. Does anybody know where Bassett is? We're probably related then if you know where that place is. We had a 3,000 acre farm. It was all irrigated corn. My dad, my mom, and my brother and me. So we worked pretty hard. And I decided I don't want to do that. And there's an affliction. There's a problem that has a lot of farm families end up getting. It's called tractor back. And so I suffered from tractor back a lot when I was a kid. 5th grade, I started going to see the chiropractor. Periodic, a couple times a year, maybe something like that. But that's all I knew. You'd get tractor back. You didn't feel good. You get back pain. You go see the chiropractor. Maybe a couple visits, maybe a week, you're good to go. That's all I ever knew about chiropractic. So, um, getting into high school, you got to pick out what the heck kind of job you want to do. And I don't know what I want to do. I'm trying to figure this out. And there was a song Willie Nelson sang about mamas don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. The other one, okay, it struck me. I don't know. You're supposed to be a doctor, a lawyer, or something. I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't know anybody. All I ever heard was that people don't like them, and I don't want to do a job that people don't like me. So I thought doctor, but I can't do that. I have an allergy to needles. And so anytime they say you're going to get a shot, and then the nurse would come in. I think they were different back then, though. I think they all had like 3 finger holes, and if they didn't slow down, it would come out the front. So, anyways, so I can't be a doctor. But then we were junior in high school. Me and my buddy Steve were in study hall, and we're looking at the computer, the old IBM with the floppy disk in it and everything. Right, right. So you punched in your grades and what you like to do, and then it spit back at you what you might be good at. I think I came with marine biologist, and I thought that's not going to work out. So chiropractor popped up. I'm like, dang, I could do that. I like my chiropractor. I have a good time. He seems to have fun. Everybody likes Dr. Sitz. They all go see him. Everybody talks about him on the weekends and stuff. So that became my what we're going to do. But again, all I knew about chiropractic was back pain, see sits for a week or so, feel better, you're done. That's all I knew. First year undergrad, I went to pre-med. Pre-chiropractic was not yet a thing, so I crashed a dirt bike and I need a chiropractor. My back's hurting. So Sid sends me to this guy in Lincoln. I'm going for a couple weeks. I'm feeling better. I tell Dr. Tipley, I'm like, I'm done, man. We used to get this thing locked up in about a week or two. So he's like, no, you're not done. Keep getting in. So I go another week. I still feel fine. I tell him, I think I'm done. He's like, no, you're not done. Now I'm just like, this guy's trying to buy a new car, man. I'm done. So I quit care. I quit. Now you get into chiropractic school. I'm in chiropractic school learning about the different types of care and what happens to your body when you do have this thing called a subluxation. I'll explain that quick in a second. You can correct it or don't correct it. You've got wellness care, all this stuff. But if you don't fix it, it's a thing that happens. It's like a cavity in a tooth that begins to degenerate. And so I'd never heard this before. I'm like, what the heck? I've been going since I'm a 5th grader and I've never heard this. So I go over and I get new x-rays at the clinic, the student clinic. And I have phase 2 degeneration in my low back, bone spurs in my low back, and I'm 25 years old. And I was pretty frustrated looking at the x-rays. And I think this is a bunch of baloney. This is never going to happen in my clinic. When I get out here, everybody's going to know about corrective care and relief care. What's the difference? You do what you want to do, but had the guy in Lincoln told me this is what he was trying to do, I would have got it handled. I would have figured out some way to take care of it, but he didn't. So I quit. So the next thing is then after learning what that was all about, relief care, corrective care, we started hearing about all the different ways chiropractic works. So this is kind of what this is all about and why we became so passionate about what happens. Your body is controlled by your brain. Your brain controls every single cell, system, structure in your body. It sends the messages from the brain down the spinal cord, out the spinal nerves, all your parts and pieces, and it makes them do what they're supposed to do. Whenever you have an injury, this spine is weight bearing. It will heal wrong with a bend or kink or twist in it. If I do that, it starts to irritate that nerve, right? Can you guys see that? You probably know this is what happens. So what happens now is whatever's at the end of that nerve is not going to function at 100%. If it's your heart, it might be because you have high blood pressure. If it's your colon, you might have digestive issues. I don't care if you have asthma or allergies or sinus problems or bedwetting or carpal tunnel or mood swings or whatever. It can be due to this thing that chiropractors work on called a subluxation. The way we correct this is by mobilizing those joints because they become locked up. The only way that disc in between maintains that hole, that space that nerve is coming out of, is by pumping nutrients in and toxins out. If it doesn't do that, it becomes degenerative and it starts to cause more nerve irritation. By this time, maybe you start to have some back pain, but your body starts to break down. So now you start to have symptoms. And we call symptoms, I call them body signals. It's kind of like the check engine light on your car, right? It just means something's wrong, get it checked. If you put a piece of tape over that light, you're going to end up with more lights popping on, right? So headaches, anything from a canker sore to cancer might be a headache. You don't even know what it is. So I'm learning all this. And so when I get into, when we were in clinic, I had a kid come in who was 12 years old, never had a dry night in his life, went to bed every night of his life, had to wear a diaper to school, couldn't play sports, couldn't have sleepovers, stuff like this. His dad heard me doing a talk. He came in, we adjusted him 2 times, never wet the bed again. I'm like, this is awesome. Had a guy, Norwood, Massachusetts, Dr. Kevin had a lady, she couldn't get pregnant. Sometimes the hormones become regulated differently if you have a subluxation, so she couldn't get pregnant. Husband sends her into Dr. Kevin. He works on her, she does better. She ends up getting pregnant, so she made T-shirts for all her friends that said, "My chiropractor got me pregnant." So that was, I don't know if that was good, but that's what she did. So anyway, that's why when we saw those things happen with people, not just get out of back pain, this is crazy. So I became super loud. And after I got into school, it became the purpose of our clinic to help as many people as we could regain health and also educate them so they can in turn tell other people about what this is. Because I can only talk to so many people. And I would talk to everybody. We'd go to parties, and my wife would say, "Can you not talk about chiropractic tonight? Because you do it everywhere we go. You're cornering somebody talking about it." So I said, "I won't talk about it if they ask me first. Is that okay?" So she said, "Fine." So some guy asked me about chiropractic, started saying, "What about this? What about that?" Pretty soon I'm checking people. We have a congregation over in the back. We're having church about chiropractic stuff. So 25 years we did that. 25 years I talked about relief care, corrective care, wellness care. Once you get stuff corrected, which takes somewhere between 8 and 10 months if you've had this, if you're 20, wellness care, maintenance care. We've been doing this long enough now. Some people followed our orders and some didn't, and they kind of fared accordingly, right? We have the guys who didn't do it, and 10 years later they're coming back in, and it's like, damn it, John, I told you this was going to happen. So it kind of became sad where we have these guys doing great and then these guys not doing great. So what can I do to help them now? 2 years ago we knew we were going to be moving our Fort Street facility, and I started looking at what else is there to help people at this point. And like I said, 5 or 10 years, regenerative medicine has become a thing. um, I started looking at everything I could possibly add. We're going to have more room. What can we do to help people now? Year and a half, I'm looking. Red light, green light, cryotherapy, T2, IV stuff, ozone, so many things. I got a stack of pages of people I've talked to and what can I possibly do. The last person I talked to was in Florida, an old colleague. I just happened to talk to him. What's going on? He's like, "You got to come down here, Chatty, and check this out." So I go to looking at Florida. And what they're doing with PRP and stem cells, which we call them cellular tissue products. Chelsea's going to go over this a little bit more. I'm in Florida, and it was the Fountain of Youth. I'm like Ponce de Leon finding this whole thing again. I couldn't believe it. So that's what's going on with PRP. Those products and the stem cells. It's not about just slowing down the degenerative process. If we catch it early enough, you turn it around, and it doesn't matter if it's joints or all the stuff. She's going to go over this too. So uh, that's what we knew we were going to be doing. I said, I got to do this because you guys are making knees grow back and shoulders grow back and tissues heal and go back. It's not about treating the pain. Like I said, the check engine light is there because something's got a problem. You got a disorder, you got a problem, it's degenerating. The pain doesn't go away because of the treatment. The pain goes away with regenerative medicine, with the PRP and the stem cells and the things that we do because the tissues heal. So there's no longer the tread came back on the tires, so the tire problem light goes away, right? That's kind of how this works. So I'm like, I got to do this. I got to bring this into my clinic. I'm going to do this. And they said, you can't. I said, what do you mean? You can't do it. I said, what do you mean? She says, you got to do it. You got to inject it. I'm like, said, oh God, yeah, that's not me. So you got to find somebody medical to do this. So you got to have an MD or a DO or a PA or an NP. So I start interviewing all these people. I don't like interviewing people. We just talked about this. It's like a lot of work, and I don't really know them yet. So anyhow, I went all through. She was one of the last ones I ended up calling, and so I ended up getting a hold of Chelsea, and she kind of had the same kind of ideas that we did, and the focus on wellness and health, and that really was kind of her passion also. So I'm like, let's bring this lady on. So that's how we ended up with her. And you tell them a little bit about you.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm Chelsea. I also grew up small town, way, way, way out west, almost Wyoming. And growing up, very traditional medicine. But as things have gone on, my passion has always been orthopedics. That's kind of where I started my career. So many, many surgeries, many, many knee replacements, shoulder replacements, hip replacements. And as time went on, I got tired of trying to replace things with products that really aren't meant to go inside of our bodies, and wanted to find a way that we can heal with our own bodies, which is what it should be intended to do. So as time went on, my passion grew again for regenerative medicine. But like many people, when I started learning about it, stem cells kind of have a bad rapport, rightfully so. But as research has gone on, there's been a lot of new developments in how they are sourced. Um, so if you want me to go ahead and talk about the stem cells and PRP and all of that, or do we want to wait?
Yeah, I'll go. I'll tell you. I'll go over these slides if you guys got these, and then I'll give
Yep.
it back to you. So
Yep.
you
Sounds
can pull
good.
them out if you want to. No big deal. Why do we do stem cell therapy? What is this stuff even about? So when you are born, you have one stem cell per 10,000 cells. Basically, everything that you are to create the perfect Trevor. When you're born, you start spending stem cells to make your body grow and then heal any tissue damage that you've done. When you're born, you're a baby. One stem cell per 10,000 cells. We have a lot of stem cells. By the time you're a teenager, you have one stem cell per 100,000 cells, which is still a lot, which you can tell why when you're younger, you know, my daughter's 17, she's playing volleyball. We have these kids will sprain an ankle, twist a knee. A couple days later, they're better. I'm like, if that was me, this is a month long or two, or it might not come back 100%. So teenagers, the whole goal is stem cells are being spent to create the perfect you. So by the time you're about 20, your body has taken the DNA is the roadmap and firing off stem cells to become these different tissues. By the time you're 20, you're pretty much where you need to be. Then you're just maintaining. By the time you're age 30, you're already down to one stem cell per 250,000 cells. This is when you might start to see some gray hair start to move in. Maybe you're starting to see some wrinkles. Things are just starting to change a little bit. By the time you hit 50, you're one stem cell and 400,000 cells. This is when the over the hill thing, maybe it happens at 40 or 50 or different times. Genetics has a little bit to play with it, but mostly it's how much damage have you done over your life to see how many stem cells have you spent until you're at 50. By the time you're at 80, you're one stem cell per 2 million cells. So this is why if we're working on teenagers, the PRP she'll talk about, you still got a lot of the Kool-Aid's still strong, I guess, basically, right? You can use PRP, inject that into those areas. Those tissues are going to heal very rapidly. I'm 50. I'm a chiropractor. I got some not great thumb joints. We did PRP on my thumbs. Kool-Aid's getting weak. I saw about a 40% improvement. The bigger deal is it's going to be stem cells for me because I don't have enough of my own that we can use those products now to get these tissues to start to grow back. I had a guy explain it. It's kind of like if you just kind of scratch the dirt to get the grass to grow back, that's kind of like getting adjusted or trying to eat better, whatever. If you do PRP, that's kind of like throwing some fertilizer on there. But if you wanted to make this thing happen, you do all that stuff plus throw those seeds on there too. So that's what the stem cell stuff is about. So all this next slide, people are asking, where is this at? Why haven't I heard about it? This has been studied for the last 5-10 years. There's about 1,000 studies going on right now, and it's by all the biggest institutions, colleges, every place that you can think of is starting to study this. Now, this is a hip below this, shows the degenerative process, kind of how the tissues start to break down. Now, we're talking today a lot about physical stuff. This next one, that slide kind of blew out, but you could see this was one person a year before and after. So there's not much space here. Stem cells were applied. The second one, they can see the space start to grow back. The bottom one there, that's actually a colleague of mine. That's a chiropractor. He was doing stem cells, seeing great results with people. He's like, you know what? I'm 50. I should take a look at mine. He was like, holy crap, I'm not doing well. And with this stuff, you want to do it while you're losing it or while it's going, not once it's gone. Because if you're throwing down fertilizer and seeds on the concrete, that's not going to do so good. So he still has tissue left in there. And when they did stem cells a year later, his knees looked like a 20-year-old's. So that's kind of what happens with it. Now, not everybody, and that's why not everybody responds like that. That's why we do a really detailed exam to see if we think that you're a good candidate or not. And we'll be straight up. Some people aren't going to be a candidate for some of these products. So that last one, I think I flipped this, but arthritis, it shows how it starts. Phase one, you're starting to lose a little bit of height. Uh, the joint's starting to change how it functions. You might have some clicking by that till you go to phase two. Now you might have some pieces start to break off a little bit, but that's not good. You can see the joint starting to shift. Phase three is where we're starting to get more of that bone on bone. There's not a whole lot of tissue left between in that cartilage. Now, again, this is a knee. We see this on shoulders. You can do it on any joint that you're trying to look at or any kind of product. Ligaments, it's all those kind of tissues. So that's why we're doing the stem cells. We started with a lot, we end with not a lot. By the time you're 50, that's where you really want to look at that stuff too. So, but I'll let her talk about how the applications look because I don't do that part. So,
all right. Well, first of all, we'll start with the PRP, platelet-rich plasma. This is kind of the base, even for stem cells. We mix it with PRP, but essentially we are taking your blood. Our blood is made up of poor leukocyte and rich leukocytes. And so what we're doing when we spin your blood down, it's similar to when you're giving blood to do your basic lab or physical with your primary doctor. We spin it down, but in our tubes, we separate the platelet-rich plasma from the platelet-poor plasma. And then we draw up from that tube the platelet-rich plasma. This is what we're going to inject into that area of injury, whether it's arthritis or long history of a rotator cuff or labral tear in the hip, and so forth. And basically what it does is it helps eradicate inflammation and signals your body to repair that by bringing in those healing factors. So no contraindications for it. It's not going to interfere with medications. It's not going to interfere with your body because it is your own blood, which makes things a lot easier in regards to who is a candidate for that. Platelet-rich plasma has been around for many, 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 many years. It just is not obviously covered by insurance because, well, how do we make money? Surgeries. So that's typically the reason for some of these things. And we know surgery is a fix, but we're taking pieces out that we don't necessarily need to. So with that being said, like he was talking about, PRP is great for athletes use it, professional athletes. We use it in the younger generations because we do have those stem cells that will go in as that PRP is bringing in those healing factors to utilize our own stem cells. But again, as we age, those stem cells go down. So we utilize, it's called Wharton's jelly. Stem cells, I use that term lightly. because again, it has just not a great rapport in how it is sourced. So that being said, how we source it, and for my morals and ethics, I did not want to do anything that had anything to do with um, taking it from aborted babies and so forth. So, how we obtain our stem cells is through donated umbilical cords, which we would discard. When I worked in labor and delivery, we clamp the cord, we would trash it. So, they have found that the umbilical cord has numerous stem cells, and Wharton's jelly. And so they derived that out of those after the parents had donated those umbilical cells or umbilical cords for research purposes so that we can help people regrow tissue, because when we're that young, that's when we have the most stem cells. Um, so they send those off and they preserve that and they build that into these blank stem cells. Now, again, stem cells, they've been around for many decades, known as hemopoietic stem cells, which they would use to treat cancers such as blood cancers, specifically lymphoma, those kind of things, leukemia, all of that. So that's been around for a long time. So as time has gone on, we have looked for different stem cells that are going to work in the orthopedic realm, with regards to tissue repair, degenerative joints, and so forth. These are known as mesenchymal stem cells. Say that 5 times fast. So that being said, these cells specifically work on the tissues within our body, whether it's ligaments or meniscus, and helps eradicate that degenerative areas of losing synovial fluid and so forth as we age. Um, so basically, what these do is release bioactive signals that are going to help regulate inflammation, which inflammation is essentially what is causing our pain as things grind or as they are torn. Our body's natural response, inflammation process. Inflammation is good to a certain extent, but when our bodies cannot eradicate that, that's when we start to get the long-term chronic issues where we go in and we get the steroid injection to help band-aid that for a few months and prolong that surgery as long as we can. And our goal is to not have that happen. So basically, those signals come in and they encourage the body's natural healing process. So we are technically regrowing that tissue with those donated cells that they are pulling, preserving. And we actually mix that with the PRP, because both of those combined together are going to enhance that healing process tenfold. That being said, afterwards, we do just a quick snippet on red light therapy. After these injections, I like to put people under that red light therapy because this red light directly contacts the mitochondria at the cellular level and eradicates that old mitochondria, which are the powerhouse of the cells in our body. And if we can eradicate those and bring in new, then essentially we have a new system developing in those joints. And that kind of explains the stem cells PRP.
Awesome. We'll take questions in a second, but Diane, if you want to do your.
I'll just do mine real quick. Mine started just watching. Oh, you can't hear me. I'm going to tell you, I was out with a friend eating dinner, and Dr. Chad's ad came up on Facebook. So I just kind of reached out and sent him a text and said, "Hey, I need to have my son come see you." It wasn't even 2 minutes, and he called me. It's like, what's wrong with your son? So I kind of filled him in. My son has not yet gone in, but is going in. He just doesn't have a day to go in. But I said, God, when I get some money saved up, I'm going to come see you. And he's like, oh, no. Just come in. We'll take a look and see what's going on. Went in. I was pretty close to bone on bone on my knee. I've been in pain for over 3 years. Hurt to walk. My foot was going numb due to a prior injury from being sprained. Could hardly walk, stand. And those that know me, I stand a lot at work. So I went down and got stem cells in the knee, PRP in the ankle, and went home. And it was the first time in probably 4 years I slept 7 hours that night. I had always been getting up and going to the recliner, or going and walking around, or going back to the bed and then back to the recliner. I hadn't had a good night's sleep in years. And it was just because my knee bothered me so bad. And I will tell you now, I can stand, I can walk. I just started doing steps 3 weeks ago, watching my grandkids, and it is really hard to retrain your brain to take a step at a time when you're used to doing one step, one step, one step. It's really hard to retrain up here, but it'll get there. But I will tell you, they're my angels. They're my saving angels, and I've said that before. Without them, I probably would have been going to knee surgery. And the only reason I was holding off is I had no insurance. So I was waiting until that golden age of this year, 65, to see if I needed knee replacement. And I can say I can avoid it now. So that's my story.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, if you guys have any questions, we can do that now. Otherwise, we're probably ready to wrap it up. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Uh, what I was going to say is, you guys have those flyers in there. Here's the deal. Like I told you, my purpose is to help as many people as we can and educate them too. In the flyer, if you want to have a phone consult, you can do that, or in person. Snag us today. We can just kind of go over some things. We'll do that for free in the clinic. If we need to come in and take x-rays or whatever, we can talk about that. If you just have questions, call us or snag us today. Otherwise, this is the deal. I want us to get in front of as many people as we can and have as many Dianes turn out in the world as we possibly can. So if you do have a group, on the back of that thing, I left you a pen in the sheet. If you have a group, just put your name and your phone number on there, or check any of those boxes that you want to use, and we'll get together with you and we'll come talk at your group too. So we do like a lunch and learns and appreciation days and yada yada, whatever. So we just need to get in front of people and help teach the world. So all right, I'm done. Will you help me thank Diane,
Yes.
please, and you guys for bringing us through. It's so wonderful.
Yes, we appreciate you having us.
Cool beans.
Well, I can't believe no one has questioned.
Either we did a really good job or a really poor job. I'm not sure.
I will be coming to talk to you because I do not want my knee replaced.
It's fair enough. I've done enough of them that.
I have no interest
Yep.
in it. I've already had a hit.
Yeah.
It's too late on that. And you don't feel the needle at all. Despite the doctor.
And hips are the easiest to recover from replacement wise, so it only goes downhill from there.
Well, one of our traditions in our club is to have our speakers sign a book.
Okay.
So
I know I saw that. I left it